perfection, it's just an illusion. Saying that to myself daily, it doesn't have to be perfect to be profitable, allows me to be focused and to run hard at my goals. And I think to love hard also.
Welcome, everyone, to the Closing Table Podcast, real accounts from real estate professionals from across the country, brought to you by WindowStill. I'm your host, Kat Schooler, and I'm so excited today to be sitting down with Hollie Bendall of Corey Shook and Associates, a real estate agent out of Owasso, Michigan. Hollie, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Anna. I'm really excited to be here today.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm so excited you're here. Let's just start at the beginning. How did you get into real estate?
Well, it was kind of accidental. In 2018, my husband and I moved back to Michigan, and we decided we wanted to start flipping and buying some rental properties. So we started doing that. And then a couple years into that, I thought, well, maybe I'll just get my real estate license so I can save some money on our purchases and when we sell them. And that escalated really quickly. And now I have a full-blown real estate career.
That's awesome. Where were you before you were in Michigan?
Well, we're originally from the Mitten,
Mm-hmm.
but we've lived in Atlanta, Georgia. We lived in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then I had a sales job that just took me all over the country. So we traveled for years.
That's really cool. I lived in Atlanta too, and I thought I had read that, but then I was afraid that I was wrong. And so I lived there actually probably about the same time. I was there like 2017 to 2021.
That is so great. Did you love it?
I did. My husband didn't like the heat though, so we had to come back. I mean, I
Yeah.
wanted to be by family too, so I don't want to make it sound like I
Right.
didn't want to come back as well. But yeah, so like you're away from family, got to get back.
Yeah, I know.
So
It
that's
always pulls you back.
Yeah, they always pull you back. So you got started in investment properties and rental properties. Do you still do that?
We do. Actually, we own some duplexes now, and we within the last year we opened our first Airbnb in Owasso, Michigan, and we're just a tiny little rural town, kind of situated between Flint and Lansing, an hour outside of Detroit. But it has done really well, and so we've loved that. So now we're thinking about expanding and maybe buying a vacation rental next. But then on top of that, we also still do quite a bit of flipping.
Wow, you sound busy.
Yeah. Yep, we're busy. And we have kids, so it's a lot, but it's fun.
That's cool. So with your rentals and your Airbnb, do you manage that yourself? Do you have somebody that helps you out with that?
Right now, we do manage it ourselves. Actually, my husband left his corporate job about a year ago to come and manage our properties. It just got to be too much, managing the rentals plus doing flips plus having our careers and our children. So he came home about a year ago to start managing all of that. And yeah, so at this moment, we manage them ourselves. The goal is to not manage them forever, to get to the point where the properties we have enough to where they can support their own property manager, that maybe we manage, but we're not there yet.
That's really cool. And I think maybe a lot of people think, especially if they're in a similar area to you or like a rural area in Michigan, like, oh, could I have an Airbnb? And based on your experience, totally. I wouldn't always think like, oh, Michigan is, at least in some spots, like really hopping, but you never know where people are going or what they're doing.
I know. It blew our minds because there's really, in the town we live in, we're really kind of an hour from most cities. There's not a whole lot going on here. There's a lot of cows. There's a lot of pigs, and not a whole lot of people. But so it was kind of, an experiment when we started our Airbnb. There's just not a lot of hotels or options for people when they come in for weddings, for their kids' sports, whatever it is. And so we thought, well, we'll just try this for like 3 months. And if it doesn't work out, we'll just rent it as a regular apartment. And it worked out. I mean, we are booked. The next 7 weeks, we are booked straight. Like
Oh,
it's wild. I know.
awesome. That's great.
Hmm.
So I want to talk a little more about, your home selling and buying as a real estate agent. You do a ton of video. And I know you've talked on other platforms about your journey with with video and it bringing in sales. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. When I started selling real estate back in 2020, um, I was working for this tiny little brokerage with me and just a couple other people who worked there. They didn't have any social media presence. They weren't doing any paid marketing, nothing. And I was just a little no one who was just getting started. And I thought, well, social media is free. I can put myself out there through video and I can try my hand at some amateur editing. And so as uncomfortable as it was, I determined that like putting my face out there and talking into the camera, if I did that daily, I thought, I bet I could get some real estate sales out of that. I bet if I put my eyeballs on camera and set a goal for myself to do it once a day, I could get some sales. And I didn't even have a goal at that time to make a career out of real estate. I was just hoping to, make extra money doing it as a new mom. And it scaled very, very quickly. I mean, with that goal of putting the camera in my face once a day and getting on there and just talking about what I was doing or the renovations or the rehab or a flip we were doing or going to show a client a property, just getting on there, unbeknownst to me, it built relationships with my community. And so, yeah, I mean, that scaled incredibly quickly. And now, I'm year 4 in real estate, and almost all of my business, in fact, about 98% of my business comes to me through Facebook, through DMs, people messaging me who say, oh my gosh, I saw a video of you, or my aunt's cousin's cat referred you, but they come to me through the social media platform.
That's amazing. And like you said, like free, all it cost you was your time.
Right.
So, what would you say to people who are like, because I think a lot of agents are like, ugh, I know I should be doing social. Ugh, I know I should be doing video. I think you mentioned, there was maybe some discomfort in starting and putting yourself out there. Like, how did you push through that discomfort?
Well, it was 2020 and COVID happened. And so when that happened, I had just gotten my real estate license, but simultaneously, COVID happened and I lost my job. So I got laid off because of COVID layoffs. And so I needed to make money. So, it was like, well, if I want to pay bills, I really need to try. And this is the only thing I can think of, not having any startup money. It's the only thing I can think of to try to get business. And so, pushing that need to make some money forced me to push my limits and comfort and put that camera in front of my face. So it was more necessity than anything.
Right. And then it sounds like it just kind of grew organically. Like, do you feel like when you engaged more with people commenting on your videos that things went further? Like, what did you find there?
It does. Not only does it push, your videos out, you just, with the algorithm and everything, the more you comment on someone comments on yours and you comment back, so it pushes it. But also, I mean, that it builds relationships with people. And what I have found is that, when you put your eyeballs in front of the camera, like we have the same experience when we follow someone on Instagram. I follow a lot of investors on Instagram. A lot of realtors follow other realtors on Instagram. When we see those people with their eyeballs, it goes past our conscious mind and into our subconscious so that we feel like we have a relationship with them even when we don't. They don't know who we are, but we feel like we trust them. We feel like we trust their financial advice or their business advice, and we take it. It goes the same way when you are speaking to your community. They feel like they know you and they trust you, and so it is so much beyond further than the algorithm. It's about relationship building. So when they reach out to you and they say, "Okay, can you sell my mom's house? She just passed away," or "Can you help me think through this situation," they're trusting you with their lives and with their money. And so I found it to be an honor and just super, super helpful.
And when you're creating your videos, like, do you batch content? Do you how do you plan it?
Yeah. So when I was first getting started, I started using, there are so many content calendars that you can find. You could Google real estate content calendar. You can get one on Canva. They have really great ones on Instagram and Pinterest. So you're not going to find a shortage of content ideas. So I used a content calendar when I was getting started. I don't anymore, just because I'm more comfortable, putting the camera in my face and, creating content daily. I do try to sit down once a week, and I will batch content. Because I know there are topics I want my community to hear about, or I'm up doing a market update or something, and I want to make sure that I get all of that, or I'm not in my mom clothes. I'm in my mom clothes a lot, and so I've got barf here and snot here, and sometimes I got to just batch the content and get in a suit coat. But I do that about once a week. And then the rest of the time, at the beginning of my day, I'll sit down with a notebook. I'll write out what I'm going to be doing that day, the client appointments I have, the concerns my clients have been bringing to me, what I'm hearing in the market. And then my goal is 3 to 5 videos a day, either video or some sort of content that I am creating and putting out. And I'll make sure I capture that during the day.
Wow. For some people, that might sound like a lot. Is it all things that are living on your feed? Do you do stories as well?
I try to do a reel, a story, and a post at least once a day. If I hit each of those once a day, I feel like I've hit my goal. Um, yeah, and sometimes I'll do more than that. If a property's going live or something exciting's happening, that just adds to it. And I know, like, 3 to 5 videos a day or a post a day, it is ambitious, and that's definitely not where I started. I felt like it was an accomplishment if I did like one a day or one every other day. So if you can just, wherever you're at in that usage of social media for getting yourself out there and building relationships with your community, start there and don't be ashamed of it, because you have to start somewhere. Otherwise you're just not going to build those relationships. You can't be in front of people 24 hours a day, except with social media.
Mm-hmm.
That is, that for me, social media has been the hinge that swings the door on my business, and it's allowed me to make tons of friends and business contacts and a whole lot of money. Yeah, it's been amazing.
Your social media, it isn't all real estate though. I think, you showed like you were making soup one day or things like that. It's not 100% business with you.
It's not. And I think you can build business using social media anyway. I don't think that there is one recipe that, is going to make or break it for you. I try to do things that are just me, and I want to create content that, my tribe or my, audience would relate to. Who is my client avatar? Who are the people I want to be helping in my community? And people I relate with are moms in their
Mm-hmm.
30s, 40s, people who are aspiring real estate investors, other people in our community who want to build it and make it better. So I think if I share content that those type of people will relate to, then that will help me build more business and relationships. So it doesn't have to be all business. And I think that it just helps you to connect with people more when they don't feel like you're selling to them all the time, trying to get business from them all the time. They need to see you as a real person, and that you want to build something with them and not just sell to them.
For sure. It's authenticity, right? Which I think is both like trending and real. Like we need it
Yeah,
online.
right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I think you can use social media to build however you want to, and have success in it if you're determined to. I know a lot of real estate agents, and, like branding companies have come to me and they're like, you need to like, clean up your videos a little, or look a little bit more curated on your posts and things like that. And I think that can work for people. It's just not me. I don't care to curate my videos more or make things, be super branded all the time. It's just not who I am. I would rather just be able to make my videos as I go and take my community along with me throughout the day on my adventures as a mom and a wife and a realtor and an investor, building our community. I'd rather do it that way.
And I think people respond more to that, especially like the things that you see that go popular or viral, like on TikTok and trends like that, especially like even in the world of like TikTok sketch comedy, it's all very basic. And so I think people have gotten more accustomed to that. Even, in your video, like if you're making a reel and it clips, 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 clips. I remember when people first started doing that, it drove me nuts. Now, if I see someone give like one perfect take of something, I'm like, what's wrong with this video? Something's
Right.
weird.
It's true. It's so true. Again, I think you could make whatever you want to work, but for me, it's got to be more real.
Yeah. And I think that lowers the barrier to entry for a lot of people. It doesn't have to be this highly produced thing. If you're like one of the agents on Selling Sunset, that's like a different story. You
Right.
have a different brand. But I think in building that authenticity and being in people's sphere, they just want to be around someone relatable.
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
you post a lot. I mean, you have your Facebook and your Instagram, but it seems like from a lot of agents that I've talked to, like Facebook is the bread and butter. Do you have
Yes.
any like thoughts on that?
Yes. Facebook is my bread and butter. I think that it probably just depends on your audience. People who are transacting right now are my age and above. They're not the 17-year-old on TikTok. I am going to have to start creating more content on TikTok eventually, right, to be able to connect with that younger audience. So it's on my mind. It's just right now, I mean, the people who I'm transacting with, they are on Facebook. That's where we live. And so, yeah, that has been super successful for me as opposed to Instagram.
Totally. Yeah, I was thinking about this when I was thinking about our interview this morning, and we were probably, growing up and stuff. If you needed to know how to do something, you go on YouTube. Like I needed to figure out how to replace the headlight in my car. I go to YouTube, and nowadays people look for how-tos on TikToks, and I'm just like, different times.
It is a totally different time.
And I think you're right. I think as maybe generations age, like the technology will have to shift too. That's just my guess,
Absolutely.
as much as I can predict the
Absolutely.
future. So, in talking about your video before, and we've kind of touched on this, but I loved in a previous interview, you said it doesn't have to be perfect to be profitable. And that was kind of your whole like slogan for your first year of video. You still living by those words?
Yes, more than ever. The busier things get and the wilder things get with life, with raising your kids and growing your family, and you know it I just have to tell myself that all the time. It really doesn't have to be perfect to be profitable in anything that you're doing. I've really kind of expanded that motto to like every area of my life. Like my even in relationships. My relationship with my husband doesn't have to be perfect to be profitable. My relationship with my pastors doesn't have to be perfect to be profitable. I can still give and receive and have those relationships be beautiful and meaningful and produce wonderful things in my life, but it doesn't have to be perfect, and my house doesn't have to look perfect, and my dishes don't have to be done all the time, and you know perfection is it's just an illusion. And so, yeah, how saying that to myself daily, it doesn't have to be perfect to be profitable, allows me to be focused and to run hard at my goals, and I think to love hard also.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. We can, pivot away from video now. But and I love that we hit on it. And I love that you do it because, like, what I want so much for agents is to be out there and be able to show their personality. That's why we have you here. I'd love to talk about your area that you sell in and some things that you love about it.
Yeah. So the area that I typically buy and sell in is Shiawassee County, right here in the Mitten. It's really in mid Michigan. It's like right in there. Um, but I mean, we do service all of Michigan, but really it's primarily Shiawassee County. It's a really blue collar area, lots of workers. Um, like I said, situated kind of between Flint and Lansing, an hour outside of Detroit, very much like a General Motors kind of a town, and people work hard here. It's a beautiful community. Lots of I mean, I love real estate for so many reasons. I love old houses. And in our town, we just have so many beautiful old houses. Right now, I one of my rental properties was built in 1836, and it
Oh.
was actually the original inn in my town that was on like the original main street. And it used to, like, the traders would come and stay there when they would be on their trade route. And so we just have so much cool history and beautiful old homes that a lot of them need help and love and repair. So I love it here. It's a great place to raise a family. Um, it's My whole entire family is here, so I feel blessed in that regard. And then it's like, to me, like, I have found it to be a hidden gem as far as investing because, um, not people don't really think of Michigan when they think of real estate investing, but it has been incredibly profitable for me to invest here with the short term rental, with my regular apartments, with the flips we've done. It has been incredibly profitable. So, yeah, I love it here for all the reasons. And I do try to move people to Shiawassee County all the time. They'll say, oh, I was thinking Lansing. I'm like, well, have you considered Shiawassee County?
That's great. Yeah, because they're good people. You want to bring them into your side of town.
Yes, exactly.
Speaking of your clients, do you have any kind of like memorable client moments?
Yeah, I mean, so many. I'll keep it light. But my one of my favorites was we were at a closing one time, and this lady, just out of nowhere, she's my seller, just out of nowhere, fell completely backwards out of her chair. I mean, just like whipped herself backwards onto her back, and with her legs over her head, dress over her head, and in front of everybody. She said that the chair just flipped over. Just I don't know. I don't know what exactly happened, but she was okay.
Oh my goodness.
I know. It was wild.
That would be jarring for everyone, because it's like, and I felt like as you were telling the story, I was like, is it funny? Is it sad? Like, I don't know what's
No, she
happening.
was fine. She was fine. She was really embarrassed, and
Oh
all of us
boy.
were really confused. But then after that, she just got herself up, and we continued signing all the papers, so it was fine. We
Oh
closed
boy.
it, so it's what matters.
Totally. If you were to start over in real estate today, is there anything you'd be doing differently?
I I would have started tracking my metrics better from the beginning. Um, Things that I run my real estate business as a business now, and so I measure things like how many calls does it take me to get in front of a buyer, in front of a seller. When I get in front of those people, how many appointments do I need to close the deal? I wish if I could go back, I would start measuring those things early on so that I could have seen where are my gaps and where can I improve. If you're not measuring, you're not. It's just a hobby. And so I know I could have grown a lot faster had I started measuring early. So that's what I would change.
That's I think that's a really cool answer. And like, what do you use to track everything now? Do you use like a fancy software? Is it like an
I
Excel
don't.
spreadsheet?
It's Excel spreadsheet, and I am in love with whiteboards. I have two big giant whiteboards, and my Sharpie marker, or my dry erase marker that I use, and I track how many calls I make every week, how what that conversion rate is. I track all of my conversion rates, through the process. And then, my most important, I have this like big bar that measures my sales, so every time I do a sale, I can make a little line on my graph. Yeah. I'm pretty
That
old fashioned that way.
you gotta love it because it's like when you write down like a to-do list and you get to check it off where it's just like
Yes,
very satisfying. So I get
it is.
that. And so you're talking about, talking on the phone with clients, calling clients. In addition to your social media, are you like cold calling or is this just, kind of getting all those kind of seven touch points before they finally say yes?
Yeah. I don't do a whole lot of cold calling. We don't buy leads as a company. And so everything that I do is sphere. And so, but I do reach out to people I know. So even, people I barely know or just kind of know in my community because of social media, I will reach out to them and, say, hey, I have a quick question for you. What's your number? And then I will call them and ask them, hey, do you know anyone with a real estate need? Do you know any landlords who might be looking to sell? Whatever my question is. But yeah, it's more calling my just people I know or kind of know.
Totally, totally. And then, is there anything about this career that has surprised you?
Um, yeah, just how emotional, buyers and sellers are. Like that was very surprising when I started in real estate, because I don't know, I'm just the type of person that like I don't think I have a whole lot of fear, and so I just do things and hope for the best. And not everyone is that way. So, I found people to be just very ruled by their emotions. And I imagine most realtors experience that. That was very surprising.
Have you kind of learned any tricks for helping people along the emotional journey that is home buying and selling?
Yes. I found out within my first year that I needed to become a better leader and educator of my clients, to help them with those emotions and help them manage them along the way. So it's not like therapy for me, an agent for them. I think of myself, I'm the leader. I'm the person with the knowledge and the expertise here, and so I'm going to educate them every time we go into a house. Every time I'm showing them, a house, I'm going to say, okay, I spoke with the listing agent before. This is how many offers they have in hand right now. This is how much we can probably anticipate it's going to sell for over asking. So if you love it, let's talk. So even if they don't love it, they're getting an understanding of what's happening in the market, or I'm educating them before we go into home inspection, what that's going to be like, what they can expect from that. So yeah, just to be the vitamin before there is an issue, and to be a leader of my clients, I think has really helped to smooth out the emotional roller coasters that they experience, um, and to, yeah, kind of mitigate challenges that go along with that.
I love that. Be the vitamin. Um, do you also feel like, I'm sure it comes in so much, I'm sure it's incredibly helpful to have your background in being an investor, in rehabbing properties and things like that to help your clients to kind of be that educator as well. If something's like a little dated, like maybe especially first time home buyers who are more on a budget, maybe the house is straight out of the 80s, and it
Or
needs
the
updates,
1800s.
or from the 1800s in your area, which, oh my, I'm like so jealous. I want to see this house.
It's cool.
Um, I didn't even look through the pictures of your Airbnb, and now I'm like, I bet that Airbnb is really cool.
It's cute.
Um, yeah, well, we're gonna link it so that everybody can look at it. But I'm sure that only makes you even more valuable to your clients to be like, I've been through this process, and here's what I can just kind of tell you anecdotally.
Yes, it does. And that helps to alleviate some of the fear that they have. If they know they are working with a realtor who sees these things all of the time and can recommend, the roofer, the furnace repair guy, the whoever. It's so much about who you know that can add comfort, that feeling of comfort and like it's going to be okay. Yeah, it makes a difference for them.
That's awesome. And Holly, do you have any like goals for this year?
Oh, I have so many goals. So many goals. I have my sales goal. My goal to as far as units sold this year is 70. And so that'll be, a little bit of a jump from what I did last year in year 3, but I'm on track, and hope to be able to do that this year. And then I have, health goals and fitness goals, and um, purchasing goals. Right now, we're actually going to be selling our home soon, which is why I'm not in my office. I'm in my bedroom doing this podcast because we're packing up and doing some renovations. And so we want to buy another property. One in particular that has an investment property on it. It's a barn dominium.
Mm.
So Yeah, we got a lot. Got a lot of things.
Oh, that sounds really cool. A barn dominium.
Yeah, yeah, it's
I
pretty
mean,
cool.
I, I love when people take two words and
I
they
know.
mix it together. I heard a power nap described as a nappuccino, and I was like, these people,
Wow.
they're clever.
Wow. I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, it's so much cuter. And then, Ali, do you have anything you're looking forward to this year? It doesn't have to be professional.
Yes, my husband and I we go up to Turtle Lake here in Michigan. It's in Thompsonville, Michigan, every year with our kids, and we have a place that we stay on right on the lake, and we go up 1 or 2 weekends every month, and then I mean it's the summer, so it's like real estate hot season. So my husband will take the kids up during the week sometimes. But man, we just build so many great memories taking the kids up there and just, showing them kind of how we grew up in northern Michigan and getting to share all of that with them and build memories. So I'm looking forward to that. The warm weather is coming soon, so we will start in May.
Oh, that's so exciting. Yes, that whole
Yeah,
northern Michigan lifestyle.
it's
Ah,
wonderful.
it is that lake life. Well, thank you so much, Holly, for being with me here today and for sharing your story with our audience. Would you like would you like to direct people how they can find you?
Yeah, actually, it's really, really simple. You can just find me, Holly Bendall, on Facebook. You can follow me, friend me, and then on Instagram at House Smitten in the Mitten. You can find me there.
Ah, right. I forgot it's so cute. You know, it's just like a Nappuccino and a barn dominium. House smitten.
Exactly.
I love it. Thank you so much, Holly. And thank you everyone for watching. This has been the Closing Table brought to you by WindowStill. I'm Kat Schooler. If you are enjoying this podcast, please make sure you are following us on Apple and Spotify. And if you're part of our YouTube audience, make sure you are subscribed. It helps us find more amazing listeners like you. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time.